All right. So, hi, everybody. I am here with Brandi Harvey. She is founder of BeyondHer, and I'd like to say we're at one of your favorite places.
This is definitely one of my favorite places in Atlanta, Effect Fitness. It's
Yes.
like, it's my home away from home.
It's always popping in here, I feel
Always, yeah. This is like the calm before the storm of like the evening boot camp classes. But yeah, I started working out here a little over 2 years ago, and I've always been into fitness since I was 19 years old. And when I first moved to Atlanta 11 years ago, I started on the road to be a fitness competitor. And so I used to train at this gym with the IFBB Pro bodybuilder Rock Shabazz out in Alpharetta, which is a nice little hike from the city. And but I used to I trained there every day. Every morning I got up and I took the drive out there and sat in traffic on the way. And probably about a good like 6 years, I was like, in that space. And I tried to go back maybe like 2.5, 3 years ago. I tried to go back maybe about 3 years ago. And, when you like go back to a space and you're like, this was once a place of like
Yes.
solace for me and now it isn't.
Yes.
Like, I just don't vibe here no more. Like, it was just not my vibe no more. And so I was like, I needed some different music, I needed a different energy. And because I wasn't competing anymore, it was like, I didn't want to just train like a competitor, like a, bodybuilder. I wanted to do other things. I wanted to experience different things. And because I was a group fitness instructor years ago, I love group classes. Like, that's my thing. I love group classes. And so having been a spin instructor, I've done step aerobics, kickboxing, you name it, I've done it.
Done
And
it
I probably
all.
taught it. Yeah. Yeah.
I love that. And your Beyond Her platform, you talk a lot about fitness and eating well and living well and kind of just everything, living in your truth. It looks like, to me, kind of like an open journal, an open diary for women. And where did your inspiration for Beyond Her come from?
Ooh, child. Where did my inspiration for Beyond Her come from? A year ago, I was fired from my job, and and I was the executive director of my family's foundation and of the Harvey Foundation, and it was one of those like mutual, like I was ready to go, but they were ready for me to go, and so in them being ready for me to go, I had to jump, out, and I walked away with a little package, and I, had some time to think about really what I wanted to do. And initially, it was like, I'm just gonna write this book, that's been brewing in my soul for like the last 5 years. Like, I'm gonna just write this book. And then it was like, I ended up meeting a girl named Whitney. She has a branding company called Ampersand, and she was recommended to me by a friend who has a really great, thriving business. And so I was like, I'm gonna call her, but I never called her, And then one day I was, came out of meditation, and I was like, find that girl's contact information. And I found her contact information in my phone, and I reached out to her. And I really just thought I was gonna do like my personal brand for a book, like I'm working on this book. That's all I'm really looking, personal site,
Yes.
just something so people can buy my book, and
Yes.
connect with me. And I went on a silent meditation retreat, and I spent 5 days in silence in the mountains of Boone, North Carolina. And when I was on that silent meditation retreat, the concept of Beyond Her had been presented to me like, this is a play on your initials. When you think about all the things that you talk about, it's like everything in your journey has been about going beyond, like
Yes.
going beyond yourself, going beyond like your fear, going beyond all these different things. And I was like, yeah, okay, but I'm gonna need confirmation on that. You know what I'm saying? So I went to the mountains and I got quiet, and my therapist had given me the book The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. And like, I got to the end of the book, Untethered Soul, and that was when like that eureka aha moment came, and it was like, he talked about in the beyond and like our spirituality and like God is in the infinite. And like when we step beyond ourselves, when we step past, and I was just like, oh my God, like that's it. Like that's what I've been waiting for. Beyond Her is it. Like this is what I'm supposed to do. And when I came home, it was like, okay, I'm ready for this. And we launched in January, our social January 1, and then we launched the site January 30th. And I think it's just been the feedback that we've gotten, the response has just been really like, people want this, you know, but I want it because it's really like out of my own soul's calling of why I did this, you know, and created this platform. But it was like, if I can help other Black women along their journey of being physically fit, but mentally fit, emotionally fit, spiritually fit, you know, that it's all connected, you know, because that was what I had to find. You know, I've been on this health and wellness journey for 16 years. And over the 16 years, I've done everything, you know, done every kind of diet, done every kind of like Atkins, low carb, no carb. I'm juicing, I'm doing the master cleanse. I'm doing, you know what I'm saying, whatever program is it, I'm doing it. And, you know, when I really started on my journey to eating plant-based and just how I just started, you know, just switching and made that connection that it's all connected, I wanted other women to find that for themselves as well.
Yes, and you're extremely open about, you know, your diet and your health, and like I also said, it's like an open journal in the aspect where you let others, you know, use that as a platform as well. I know that we touched a little bit on, I read an article about your mom.
Yeah, she wrote one of the first articles for the site.
Yes, and she talks a lot about, you know, a parent's job to their child, a parent's job to her child, and she wrote at the end, a parent's job to their child is to prepare their child so that they are ready for life and success. However, my children were my teachers, and their preparation for life was also my own. So for me, I'm really curious, what do you think is the biggest life lesson your mother has taught you?
Having coming off, spent a week at my mom's house. So many. You know, when you go home, you're like, oh, I remember you were a parent, you're in charge at one point. So probably the biggest life lesson that I've learned from my mother thus far, I think, is, you know, the difference between being an oak tree and a palm tree, right? The difference between being an oak tree is firm and solid and planted, and it does not, you know, sway at all when the wind blows, you know, but a palm tree, it has to be able to bend. It has to be able to move. It has to be a little more agile. It has to be able to be a little more resilient than the oak tree. And I think that that's what I've learned so much from my mother, as much resilience, you know, but being able to bend and able to move and, you know, go with the ebb and flow of life. You know, I think with her own health challenges that she's experienced over the years, you know, looking at that as an example of why I continue to do the work that I do is really because I want not only my own family to live, but I want Black people to live. I want Black women to live. I want us to recognize that we are the original healers, that we can really heal our bodies. You know, God has given us that opportunity, but He's blessed us with the foresight to be able to do that and the wherewithal. And we have really all the tools that we need inside of us. But she's really taught me that about resilience and being able to bend, you know, sturdy like an oak, but being able to bend and go with the ebb and flow of life like a palm tree.
Yes. And speaking of being able to bend and being resilient and being, you know, flexible, you also wrote an article yourself, a letter to your 20-year-old self.
Oh, I did.
And he mentioned in that, forgive your dad sooner. You will learn that people can only love you in the capacity in which they have. And you also mentioned in one of your other articles, Silence the Shame, on, you know, growing up kind of without your father and how you had to adjust. And like you said, Black women having the power, therapy is okay. So my question in that respect to your dad, as far as what you learned from him and how you coped with that, because you guys have a good relationship now. So how did you overcome that and, have him in your life?
You know what? It's been years. I think when my parents got a divorce, I think, you always, as a child, you are a byproduct of that like the brokenness of that relationship. And I think, over the years, I had this like idea and picture in my mind of what and how I wanted my father-daughter relationship to be. It's supposed to be like the shit on TV, like I'm supposed to be like, yay, daddy, and run to you and like pick me up or something. And, but what I realized is, even with both my parents, that something happened to them along the way in their childhood that I wasn't privy to, that I didn't know anything about, right? And they carry some things with them into the relationship with each other and into the relationship of them trying to navigate and parent me and my siblings, But the one thing I feel like is my biggest takeaway from my father is work ethic. He is the hardest working man in show business. I don't think anybody can or will outwork him, And that's almost like a blessing and a curse too. But I think that's one of the things that I've learned from him and taken from his life of how he lives by the principles of success. Yep. The principles of success of how to take your dream, manifest that dream, and go out and freaking balls to the wall, like be relentless about pursuing it.
Yes.
And so I think that's definitely one of the takeaways that I've learned from my father, but also that in any relationship, we typically want what we want, when we want it, how we want it. Yep. And we keep asking people to give us things that they just don't have it to give. Like, right, you want to go to this well and get water, but the freaking well is dry. Yep. But I'm going to keep standing here because I know some water is going to come out that well. It's not about to come out that well, girl. Like, you got to move on. You got to go somewhere else to get whatever, that water that you're looking for, that thirst that you're dying for it to be quenched. Like, you're going to have to go somewhere else to get that. And, my father was always there, financially. And that's how he shows his love. When people have a love language, like, he shows his love by gifts and what he can do and how he shows up for you, like, financially. That's his thing. But if you're asking him to be something more than that, I think it was just like, me putting it in my mind to know that there are some things that I'm not going to be able to get from my dad, just like there are things I'm not going to be able to get from my mom. There are certain things I'm not going to be able to get from my sister. There's certain things I'm not going to be able to get from some of the relationships that I've had. And that's just a journey, I've had to learn. But I really do, if I would have told my 20-year-old self something, it is forgive him sooner. Mm-hmm. Because, in not forgiving him, I was holding him to something, an expectation that was never his to be held to. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I was like holding him to something that he was like, what are you talking about? I thought everything was good. Like, why you tripping? Like, what's up? And that's how most of us are in our lives. We hold people to things that they're just not capable of giving it to us in the way that we think or we feel we deserve, we need them. And that's okay. You have to be able to address those things. We have to address them. Like, don't get me wrong now. This is not an easy road. You don't get to just like happily ever after, just like poof. You have to work at it. Yeah. You have to work, you have to forgive, you have to constantly forgive. And then also you have to make, you have to say what you've done wrong. Yeah. Like I had to tell both my parents, like, I haven't been the greatest daughter all the time. You know what I'm saying? And my expectation is for you to be the freaking superhero parent at all times, but my ass wasn't being a superhero daughter all the time. So It's like we're asking things out of people that we're not always showing up to give them ourselves.
I think everybody is imperfect, but that's what makes us so unique and special.
Absolutely.
And BeyondHer talks about the journey, and like you said, like you say on BeyondHer that, who you are yesterday doesn't dictate who you can be today.
Yeah, I'm ever changing. Like who I was at the airport this morning was probably not. But
well, speaking of the journey, everybody has a meltdown, and your sister talks about beyond the mommy meltdown, and that not only toddlers are the ones who act up, but there are levels to a meltdown. So, what do you think was your first meltdown that you were just like, this is it, this is the meltdown?
I probably think my first meltdown kind of came, it was like a combination of things. When I was 19, I was a sophomore at Hampton University, and I went to visit my dad for spring break. And when I went to visit him, I hadn't seen him in quite some time. And so when I saw him, he was like, now mind you, I'm in my sophomore year, so I've been eating hella Chick-fil-A, you know, hella Popeyes, you know, fast food galore, pizza every single night. And so I looked like I was eating that every single day. And so my dad was like, oh, my fluffy girls. And I was like, fluffy, you know, to my sister. I was like, what do you think he mean by fluffy? Like, you think he's trying to call us fat? And Carter's like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. I don't even care. And I was just like, I feel like he's trying to call us fat.
I care.
And so we went back to Hampton after spring break, and we started working out, right? And so we started working out, but after the workouts, we would be like, oh, girl, we did that. Like, high five milkshake. Like, let's go to milkshake. And so we would go get a milkshake, like, to reward ourselves for working out on the elliptical, like, you know, as we watch TV, you know, like, barely breaking a sweat. Now we deserve something. And so, so I got into the guy that I was with at the time. You know how you do when you're younger. You in and out of a relationship, you know, every 5 minutes with one person. You know, one person every 5 minutes. Y'all are break up to make up. And so it was one of those times that he said some really hurtful things to me. And I was transferring to Ohio State that summer, and I was like, oh, okay, you want to do it like this? Got it. My dorm at Ohio State, when I transferred for summer school, was right across the street from the Jesse Owens Recreation Center. So I was like, oh, okay, I'm just about to, like, focus on me, get my life together, like, get my body right, like, the next time I see you, Negro is on, right? And so I just started working out, and, like, that was probably, like, my first, like, you know, when you hit a wall of, like, I'm ready to make a change in my life. I was 19 years old, and that was the first time that I was like, I hit this, like, I'm ready to make a change and do something different with my life. And so it started me on this path of working out, and working out turned into how I was eating, and I started off with portion control, and, like, whatever they said on the back, like, if it said a fourth of a cup of ice cream, I got a fourth of a cup measuring cup, and I put the ice cream in the fourth cup, and I ate it out there. If it said 14 chips, I counted out 14 chips, I rolled that bag down, it was a wrap. So I did that, you know, and then it's just like, I started falling in love. I went to a spin studio one day, fell in love with spin, became an instructor. You know what I'm saying? It was like, that first wall that I hit was like, it was almost like, you know, my dad waking up the sleeping giant. Like, there was a giant. I think all of us have a giant within us. And it's just like, sometimes it takes somebody to just come and nudge the giant to say, wake the hell up. Today's your day. It ain't coming back around today is your day. Get up off your behind, like, dust yourself off, pick yourself up, and get out here and get about the business of life. And he tapped that giant in me at 19. Of course, like, that beach just started growing, and, you know, by the time I was 24, I was on my road to becoming a fitness competitor. I had already been a group fitness instructor, a personal trainer, like, all these things. I started a meal delivery business. You know, it was like, all these things just kind of off of me hitting that one wall at 19, you know, two men in my life whose opinions I was, you know, really heavily valuing, and they said some things that triggered, you know, the switch. And so whatever it takes, I think, for people, you know, everybody has that point.
Yeah.
So whatever it takes for you to kick your life into overdrive, like, let it take you there, you know? Like, people can say now, like, don't tell me, like, my dad fat shamed me. Like, don't come and say, oh, he shamed me. No, he didn't. He did not. What he did was he saw potential in me. He saw what I couldn't see in myself. And he said, if you don't do something about this, you're not going to be living the life you want. And that's what he told me. And so that was my first wall. And I think, you know, of course, I've had, you know, several walls since then. You know, probably my last one was when I left my job last year, was like that wall of like, okay, you turn, what we about to do? You know, it was really a rerouting, you know, of my life. But here we are.
And
Yeah.
that's the perfect segment into my last question before our mini game, about let's stop cheating ourselves. So in this article, you talk about, during a workout, how you saw someone else basically cheating themselves and you called them out on it. Like, it's not going to benefit you.
Yeah. I'm really good at calling people out. I'm like your ultimate accountability partner. Like, if you want an accountability partner, I'm your girl, you know?
Say how it is.
But yeah, I saw her in the workout, and we train in here. We do all kind of stuff in here on this turf, and we're pulling sleds, running the sleds, and she was about to start walking at the end. I was like, "You just cheating yourself." And of course, everybody like, "Oh shoot, Brandi, did you just say that out loud?" I sure did, and it wasn't. And in that moment, she got back down to start running it, and it wasn't to call her out to make her feel small at all. It was to acknowledge the fact that you're the only one that's going to lose at this.
Yep.
Like, we get up every single day and we make shortcuts and we make concessions, but this is just your life.
Yes.
It's just your life. So the more we shortcut ourselves, then we wonder why we don't get maximized blessings. We keep wondering why God will not maximize and kick in the overdrive in our lives. Well, hell, you haven't thought yourself worthy enough to stop cheating yourself every single day. You're not thinking about that what goes in is what comes out.
Yes.
Everything that I put in, all the relationships, all the people that I'm around, the places that I go, how I spend my money, how I spend my time, I'm just only cheating my life.
Yeah.
It's not about your life. Like I also tell people, it's not you, I promise. It's really just me. It's not you. It's me. It's just me. It's just me holding myself to a standard. Yeah. It's just me requiring excellence out of my life. It's just me choosing to live a life that is the highest life that I could possibly live. I get one shot at this. Mm-hmm. So why do I want to cheat myself at any turn? If you got to start looking at your life like Vegas. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a high roller table for a reason, right? There's a high roller table with people who, those the big whales. Those are people who get the comp rooms. They're getting the extended stays. They're getting all the other perks. They're not just getting a watered down drink from the cocktail waitress that's coming around. They're getting the extra attention because they are a high roller. They are risking big. The return on the investment is big because I'm willing to risk big. I'm willing to bet big. Most of us fail because we're not willing to bet on ourselves. Yep. We're not willing to bet. We're not willing to put all the chips out on the table and say, you know what, I cash out. Bet on black, I'm betting on me. Roll it. Most of us aren't willing to do that. So because we aren't willing to do that, we get a half-ass blessing, we get a half-ass return, we get the half-watered-down drink, we get the lackluster attention, we get the lackluster service because we haven't even chosen to bet fully on ourselves. When we bet on ourselves, well, now I'm in a high roller category. Well, now I'm high rolling, you got to pay attention to me. There's never there's this risk of failure. But a high roller is always in their mind thinking about, this one is the next one. Yeah. I'm about to cash out. Cash me outside, whatever the little girl says. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're about to win big because I'm willing to bet on myself. But most people are not even willing to put 2 chips on their own life. But yet and still we say, well, God, I'm praying. Well, you ain't worked for that one, that prayer. That prayer ain't got no steam behind it. That prayer ain't got no work behind it. And we want all these, we want the riches, we want the wealth, we want the fame, we want instant success, and yet we put in lackluster effort, lackluster behaviors. We have no discipline. We're not willing to discipline ourselves to get the lives that we want. Discipline is a fruit of the Spirit. But yet we want a fruitful life. We're not even willing to discipline ourselves with one of the fruits of the Spirit. You can't even get a return. Your tree can't even blossom without discipline. Because discipline is gone. Everything you eat, everything you think, all the people you're around, how you start to move in your day. Well, I'm too disciplined to go do that. too disciplined to go drink that today. I'm too disciplined because that's just gonna throw my whole day off. I don't have a day to recover from alcohol binge. I don't have that day, so that's why I don't drink no more. You know what I'm saying? I don't have the time to recover from that. So why do I want to put myself through it? Because I'm too disciplined. I'm driven by the results in my life. And if my life is producing maximum results by doing this right here, well, damn it, I think I'm going to keep betting on black. I think I'm going to keep rolling the dice with what I'm doing.
You are everything. That just gave me so much. I'm not kidding you. That just gave me so much life. I'm just in awe by you. I'm not kidding you. It really did.
That's sweet.
That was
That's
powerful.
Really
That was very
sweet.
powerful. Let me end it with a game.
Cool. Let's do it.
Okay, it's a this or that, so you can only pick one.
Okay, this or that. I can only pick one.
Yep.
Yes.
You ready?
Yes.
All right. Nike or Adidas?
Nike.
Fruits or vegetables?
Fruit.
Dress or skirt?
Dress.
Cook in or dine out?
It depends on who I'm with. Who going? I like to go out to eat. I like to dine out. Yeah.
A good book or a good speech?
A good book or a good speech? Dang, it depends on the day. I'm gonna go with a speech. I'm a speaker, like spoken word. I don't know. A book. I'm gonna go book. I say a speech first, but I'm gonna go book.
What book?
Right now, what am I reading right now? I started reading Black Fortunes right now. That was the book that I was rocking with on my way home. But probably, I think my favorite book right now is Relentless by Tim S. Grover. And I love his book because he talks about, he's a trainer for Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Dwayne Wade. Like, he's trained some of the best basketball athletes in the world, and he's brought them back from either severe injury to be able to win, championships, national championships. And he talks about being, a cleaner in the book. He's not one of the people that you call when things are going good. You call him to clean up the mess that's been made, right? But he talks in the book, about being relentless about attacking your dreams and your goals, and he tells all these different stories about Michael Jordan and some of the great athletes like Kobe Bryant. But very simple quote that I use all the time from his book: life is complicated, truth is not. And that's like, his book is like, it's right in your face. Like, the language is like very like provoking language, which I like. I like provocative, provoking language. So yeah, that's probably like my favorite book right now. And I've read it a couple times, but that's probably the one I'm like, I recommend that one a lot.
Okay.
Yeah, Relentless.
Check that one out.
Yeah. Hey, what's up? I'm Brandi Harvey, speaker, teacher, and founder of BeyondHer. I'm here with Bria Williams, and we are talking about all things wonderful and getting your whole life together and living this journey and going the distance. So stay tuned. We got something. We're cooking up magic right now. This is Black Girl Magic, and we popping.
Yes. Thank you.